Listening is a big part of communication. Raise your hand if you've ever felt like your significant other is not listening to you at some point in time. Of those that raised your hand, how many of you feel like your significant other is not listening to you based off of barriers within your relationship? Hi, my name is Haley McMillan, and that is exactly what I'm going to be talking about. Effective listening barriers within interpersonal communications. The main idea is that no matter how many barriers you run into within your relationships, they're always going to negatively impact them. I will be discussing a research article that I found and also relating it to an interpersonal relationship within my own life. The article that I found was a factor analysis of barriers to effective listening. It was by one author, Stephen Golan. It was an article trying to find research on listening barriers that most commonly affect college students, such as controversial narcissism, which is when one is so self-absorbed they're unable to listen to what anybody else has to say. Emotional noise, which is when there is emotional arousal going on around you and you're just unable to listen. And communication criticizing the speaker, which is when you form a certain impression of a person which may prevent you from listening to what this other person has to say. So this article has to do with Chapter 10, Creating Communication Climate. So what these people found was that students had the hardest time when they were asked to listen primarily for details and facts. This was the number one listening barrier. Also, another interesting fact that they found was 2 of the 6 factors were significantly different based on the sex of the student. I applied this research finding to my relationship with my boyfriend. Not just romantic relationships, but all relationships in general people have a hard time listening when they feel they don't need to or they don't want to. Sometimes when others get angry is also a time that it's very hard for people to listen. So from this article I learned that it's not just me, but different genders have a hard time listening to certain things, while other genders have a easier time being able to listen to certain things. Therefore, it's not just him and he's not unable to listen. It's not him, me not thinking he's listening is not always the case. So in interpersonal relationships, barriers of listening depends on lots of things and they can be worked on and improved. So for those of you that raised your hand in the beginning, I will leave you with this. Hearing is not always listening, but they will never know what they really missed when they chose to hear and not listen.